Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished Liverpool 7, Manchester United nil. Who predicted that? Be honest, who predicted that? Nobody did. I'm pretty sure nobody did. Not even the most optimistic of Liverpool fans predicted that. I thought United were going to lose today. I felt United were going to lose today. I just felt like Anfield is a step too far. And for all the good form that United have shown this season, they haven't beaten Manchester City away. They haven't beaten Arsenal away. They haven't beaten Chelsea away. So their away form hasn't really been that good. So I thought United were going to lose today. And I did feel like United were due a loss. And that and I felt like, I thought today would be a good day to get that loss, in a way out of the way, because they were going to due for a defeat, and getting it out of the way today in a game which they always lose anyway was probably the best way to kind of get that out. 7-0 is just it's bad. It is. I mean, that's the kindest way to describe it, is that it's bad. It is a bad defeat. It's a defeat that's going to have a lot of consequences, I feel, for the season. But what did I say after the Everton game that Liverpool played? They won 3-0. I said Liverpool are back. I said they look good again. They look sharp. They look like they found their mojo. And a lot of people laughed. A lot of people laughed and said, "Oh, the relegation. They beat relegation contenders." It wasn't the result. It wasn't the win. It was how they played the game that they played. They looked like the Liverpool of old. And that is what I said. And aside from that Madrid aberration, they've actually been pretty good. 10 points from the last 4 games. They have not been bad. The Crystal Palace game was yeah, okay, they got a draw there and they weren't that good. But you could put that down to a Madrid hangover. But otherwise, they've been very good since that Everton game. They've been pretty good. And, they were due, lots of things. And it's one of those games. And I will say this before I talked about Liverpool's performance. I think today was one of those games, where as a player, everything goes right for you, and conversely, everything goes wrong for you. So from a Liverpool perspective, everything went right. Everything went right. Literally everything went their way. The referee was on their side. The ball bounced the way that the ball bounced. It was bouncing, metaphorically. A lot of the breaks went Liverpool's way. A lot of the passes that Liverpool attempted came off. And conversely, for United, everything went bad. They're big players. They all played badly today. A lot of the breaks, for the goals, and we'll touch it a few, because after the fourth one, I just stopped paying attention. But a lot of the breaks were, a lot of the passes went astray. They went straight to Liverpool players. A lot of the deflections went to Liverpool players. That happens, right? And those things matter as well. It's one of those things. I think Liverpool United have been a bit lucky in a lot of the games that they've won. I think the Leicester one was there was a lot of good fortune in that Leicester win. There was a lot of good fortune in that 2-2 draw with Barcelona. Maybe some would say even the 2-1 win and the 2-0 win over Newcastle and Barcelona, they were also probably a bit lucky. The West Ham game as well was a lot of luck. And so maybe all that luck that they had captured, the karma had to come back, and today was karma for everything. They were like, okay, Ten Hag, we've given you all of these great things. Today we collect it all back, and they collected it all back. But the first goal is a bad goal to concede. It came off after a bit of United pressure, basically, there's a lot of people questioning, a lot of people at fault. I don't think Dalot was at fault, because he's first of all, he's playing as an inverted fullback. So if you're playing as an inverted fullback, you're going to be coming infield. And I think he picked Robertson. The problem was, one, of course, Antony didn't track back and didn't track Gakpo. Gakpo was the free. But I feel Varane was a little bit too eager to get, if he had held his position right, when he gives his position away, you see that he just moves a little bit. Once he gives his position away, that's where Gakpo has a shot. If he holds his position, if he gets in the right position, and it's difficult because he's running backwards, so it's difficult, I understand that. But if he had held his position right, that goal doesn't happen. But because he pulled out, it gave Gakpo a shot, and he went and he scored. It's still a very good finish, though, by the way. Absolutely wonderful. It's 1-0. And after halftime, you think, okay, well, Ten Hag really applied the magic touch or whatever. But you know what? There's something as well. United have been playing badly in the first 50 minutes of second half for a long time as well. They haven't always been punished for it. But today they got punished for it. They got punished badly today for it. The second goal, I will say that the second goal is one of those where it's a lot of good fortune for Liverpool. When I talk about everything going right and going wrong, that's one of those positions, because Shaw gives the ball away. And the Casemiro almost wins it back. In any other world, he actually wins it, but he doesn't win it here. Varane hits Varane and deflects off Varane as well. Again, in another universe, Varane clears it, but it breaks off him. And maybe if it breaks or it deflects off him, maybe it falls to a United player, but here it falls to a Liverpool player. And then again, the short deflection. And if Shaw had, the irony is, again, if Shaw hadn't deflected that, they actually collects it. But because of that deflection, it falls to Elliott, and he puts a wonderful cross in. And then from there, it's a goal. It's 2-0. And I just felt at 2-0, I think United lost their heads. They lost their heads. And then it became 3-0 very quickly. Bruno again losing the ball. Of all players, Bruno losing the ball, and it's a counter. That's the kind of goal they scored again against Everton as well. And they did that here, super fast counter, and just ran through the defense. And Martinez, of all players, again, Martinez getting dummied. Does that happen? How often does that happen? He just slipped and he fell, and Salah had a clear-cut pass to put to Gakpo, and he puts it in 3-0. And then it becomes 4-0. And at this point, I said stop giving time. 4-0 again, just 4-0, 5-0, 6 and 7. Again, the fifth goal as well, the Salah goal. The fourth goal was the Salah one, right? Yeah, the fourth goal was the Salah one. That again, there was a deflection that actually falls for Salah, and he scores. So definitely there was a lot of help from United. Like I said, it's one of those games where, and I am being a little bit kind here to Manchester United. There was a bad game. They played a very bad game today. I mean, you can't take that away from them. They had a really bad game. What I'm saying is that there was a lot of help for Liverpool. It was one of those games where Liverpool, I think the bad luck that they've had probably at the start of the season, again, Karma said, right, we've done a lot of things wrong for you, so here you go. Now here's your return receipt. Here you go, enjoy yourself today and make yourself merry. And they got 7 goals today. Robertson Fabinho scoring right at the end. There's a nice story for him. He's leaving the club at the end of the season, but probably, but he'll say, right, I've got a goal here for Anfield. A nice moment for him. Probably would have meant more if it was maybe 2-0 or 3-0 or 7-0, but nonetheless, I'm sure Liverpool fans will enjoy. I think a quick key points now, because I mean, we talk about the result, but I think Ten Hag got it wrong. Right as Sal said, Ten Hag got it wrong, because you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a wonderful fullback going forward, but he's absolutely, very bad defending. Today he had a good game defending as well, which, the bizarro world, right? But he's not very good defending. You put Rashford on the left wing. Why would you put Bruno on the left wing? Bruno is not going to track back as well. So you're giving Trent Alexander-Arnold the license to go forward anyway. You're giving him the license to say, right, you do what you're good at, but don't worry about what you're bad at, because, the person that we've got behind you is not very fast anyway. He's not going to take advantage. You play Rashford there. I think he got that wrong. Rashford or Garnacho, which brings me to the point about Weghorst. If you're going to play Marcus Rashford as a striker, there is no reason to play Wout Weghorst, and there's no reason to play Bruno on the wing. The only time Bruno should be playing on the wing is if you're playing Sabitzer, Fred, and Casemiro together because you want to protect that midfield. Otherwise, playing Bruno on the wing and playing Weghorst as a number 10 is a waste. It's an absolute waste. And I hope Ten Hag realizes that, and I hope he stops that. If you're going to play Weghorst, play him as a striker. If you're going to play Rashford the only reason you play Weghorst as a striker is because you want to play Rashford on the left wing where he's most effective. If you're going to play Rashford as a striker anyway, there's no point playing Weghorst. Weghorst is just redundant. He doesn't really offer anything that Bruno doesn't. My point is, I could understand when Antony was unavailable because you needed somebody to play on the right wing, and there's nobody to play on that right wing. But you've got Antony playing on the right wing now anyway, who's your first choice. You might as well not need Weghorst. So I thought that was a mistake, and that I think is where the game did get lost a lot, because immediately Weghorst, he doesn't offer much going forward, so you are immediately losing that attack. You lose Bruno at number 10, which I think, as I've said so many times, his work rate off the ball in that midfield is so underrated. He provides so much support to, when Eriksen was playing, he was providing a lot of support to him. I think he also helps Fred out a lot. You lose that again, and you're playing him on the wing where he's not that effective anyway, and you give Trent Alexander-Arnold the license to go forward. So I felt that was a tactical error from Ten Hag. From Liverpool's point of view, I feel the demise has been a lot exaggerated. Liverpool always have this. They have one season bad, then they have the season great. I mean, they just had a lot of injuries. Now that you see Konate back, you see Van Dijk also doing really well. I mean, Van Dijk and Konate work really well together. So, they just had a lot of injuries. Now that they're getting players back from injuries, you're seeing the team that they are. And remember, Luis Diaz is there to come back as well. So, I mean, they've got a brilliant forward line, though, whatever else you might say. They've got a brilliant forward line. Nunez looks good. Gakpo has looked good. I mean, there was criticism of him because he was taking time to settle in, but now he's fantastic, right? Because he's had a few games to settle in. He's looking like the player that he was at the World Cup, and the player that, a lot of teams are interested in. They've got a fantastic forward line. I think Liverpool will be title challengers next season. I believe that. They get a midfielder or two in, and believe you me, they might actually win it. They might actually win it next season. Get a proper midfielder, 1 or 2 midfielders. They don't need a lot. 1 or 2 midfielders, maybe another defender, just to have a little bit of, just to have, more squad depth with Van Dijk and Konate. You get 1 more in. That's it. Liverpool will be title challengers will be title challengers next season for sure. And will be favorites to win the title. For Manchester United, I mean, it's just there's but I'll come to Manchester United. But Liverpool, I do feel they will get in the top 4 this season. They definitely will. That's out of the question. Who gets out is the question. Liverpool will be in there, because I mean, Spurs are falling away, Newcastle are falling away, and then that brings you to Manchester United. Now, United, I mean, the fact that anybody thought they were title challengers, it seems laughable after this game. I never felt that they were in a title challenge anyway. And the reason for that is because I know these kind of results are just around the corner. And what I did feel today, I think this team lost its head. After that after the third goal, I think just lost. They collectively lost their head. Anfield does that to players. I've seen it happen to Vidic. I've seen it happen to other players. It happens. They let the occasion get to them. And that is something they will need to learn from. Do I feel that, I mean, they're still in a good position to finish top 4. We've got to forget about the title. United are now back in the top 4 conversation. Yes, they've got 7 points on Liverpool. Yes, Newcastle and Spurs are struggling. But all it takes, but United at the moment, I think, are they mentally tired? I mean, that's a physically tired. Physical tiredness is a different thing. Mental tiredness is another. Because keep in mind, they've been playing a lot of big games, and it's big game after big game after big game after big game, and it's hard to always stay switched on. I hope this is a one-off, and I think the Betis game will tell us a lot about where United are at, because I don't want to jump to conclusions. It's just one game, right? So I don't want to say United are definitely not going to finish in top four. I do feel that top four is not secured yet, and anybody who thinks that is deluding themselves. Then it's not secure. It's not over until it's over. So it's not done yet. But I'm not going to say that they're not going to finish in the top four. What I'm going to say is that Betis game is going to be important, because if they lose that one, it's at Old Trafford as well. If they lose that one, then I think the season has the potential to unravel. It could all unravel very, very quickly after that, because this team, we talk about mentality, and I thought, Casemiro is strong mentally, Varane is strong mentally, Martinez is strong mentally. What we saw today is those players are not that strong mentally. They can also have the occasion get to them. They can have that. But of course, big game mentality is not about losing, because teams lose and sometimes teams get hammered. That also happens. What matters is how you respond to that. It is always about how you respond to setbacks, not whether you get setbacks. And this is a massive, massive setback. And I think we will know against Betis if this team has it to bounce back. But again, I honestly, I mean, again, people are talking about next season being title favorites. I don't see this team being title contenders next season either. To be perfectly honest, I don't. It will need a lot of additions. There's still a lot of positions that need to be filled. I just don't know whether United are going to fill them. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I feel like a few heads will roll for the game against Betis. I expect at least 3 or 4 changes for that team, and not because of resting, but I feel like a few players need to be dropped to make a statement. I think Weghorst definitely will be dropped. I think Antony might be dropped as well. Luke Shaw might be dropped as well. He was a disgrace, by the way. Luke Shaw was a disgrace in that second half. The way he was playing, I mean, he just completely lost his head. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere. Like on that field, all he wanted to do was pick a fight. I think he just wanted to pick a fight to get sent off and kind of do something, but he was just looking. So as a 7th goal as well, such a lazy flick from Luke Shaw, that 7th goal. The other goals, they gave a lot of goals away from the left side anyway, but that 7th goal is such a lazy flick. It just, he needs to be dropped. I think he needs to be dropped. I think Dalot needs to be dropped will be dropped as well. And I expect, Sabitzer to come in, which I'm surprised Sabitzer didn't come in. That McTominay came in before him, but I expect Sabitzer should come in for one of Fred or Casemiro. So probably Fred. But yeah, there's going to be changes. There's going to be changes for that game against Betis. There has to be, because there needs to be consequences for that kind of performance. It is not the end of the world. It is, you take that, like I said, you take it into isolation. It's a day when everything went wrong for United. You put all of that aside. But the fact is that has happened, and there has to be consequences for that kind of performance. You can't expect that you can't accept that kind of level of performance that they put in the game. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose the way Manchester United did, particularly after that 3rd goal. It just looked like they stopped trying. They just didn't care. They just stopped trying. They were trying to, they were just trying to pick fights basically. And that's not acceptable. Right. Anyway, one of the thing about this kind of losses is they don't hurt. They don't hurt. Personally, they don't hurt me. It hurts me more when you lose a game 3-2. The Arsenal one hurt more because they lost right at the end, 3-2. And this one doesn't hurt that much because you're like, well, 7-0, it's a freakish result. If 7-0s don't happen every day, if they happen every day, then there will be a problem. But they don't happen every day. So it's one of those days, like I said, where just, it is a one-off. What United now got to ensure is that it is actually a one-off, and they don't repeat this kind of performance again for the rest of the season. But you know what? They needed to kick up their ass as well. I think that a few players, there was quite a few things that were being talked in the media. A lot of players were kind of getting a little bit. I felt there was complacency in the West Ham game as well. I think the same happened here as well. I think they needed to kick up their asses. Everybody, even the manager, Ten Hag needed it as well. He's probably thought of himself too much as a tactical genius, and he put the team out that he put today. I think he got a lot wrong. So things like that, everybody needs that. And again, we could look on this loss as a positive at the end of the season. If at the end of the season United finished top 4 and they won an FA Cup or they won the Europa League, we might look back at this game and go, that loss was an important step in that journey. But if they don't, then you might very well look at this and say this was when it all unraveled. This was the moment when United was shown their true level. But we'll know at the end of the season. Anyway, smash a like for Liverpool. Fantastic performance. Man of the match, they gave it to Salah. I'll give it to Gakpo. I'll give it to Gakpo because I think without that first and third goal, that game doesn't unravel. Until that first goal came, Liverpool were looking a little bit shaky. Then he settled them. Then that third goal killed the game. So for me, I mean, Salah got a couple, Nunez got a couple, but those were they were not goals that decide the game. Those first 2 goals from Gakpo, and first and third goal, but the first 2 goals for him, they decided the game. And so for me, Gakpo is my man of the match. I was actually going to put Dutch Nightmare in the title. I had a few title changes that I had to keep doing because they're scoring goals so fast. Like, oh my god, what do I change? Anyway, I tried. And then in the end, I was like, don't score in 8th, please, because I can't change this title. This is the title, 7th heaven for Liverpool. It's got to be that. Please do not change, not score in 8th, otherwise I'll have to come up with something else. But anyway, congratulations to Liverpool fans. Smash a like if you enjoyed this video, by the way. Smash a like for Liverpool. Do share your comments on the game, of course. So let me know what you thought about it. What do you think needs to happen going forward? Where can Liverpool finish? Can they finish 3rd this season? That's the question, isn't it? Can they finish 3rd this season? They're only 7 points on Manchester United. You know, we talked about Man United being in a title challenge because they were 7-8 points off of Arsenal at one point. Why can't Liverpool be in the conversation for 3rd? Let me know in the comments, of course. Yeah, and do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We appreciate your support. We've got one more game coming up. Betis are playing Real Madrid. I'm going to watch Betis now, and I'm going to freak out if Betis win because I don't want more to think. But anyway, do stay tuned for the reaction for that one as well. Take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.